Hey guys, how y'all doing out there? All right, so um, this is a big night. This feel I've been listening to the news all day today, and I just honestly feel on an emotional level like I could not do a live stream and try to get this conversation opening up to other people. So tonight I'm doing something pretty unique. I'm actually opening up my Discord server to anyone who wants to join it and talk about what's going on in the news with me. And I will include your audio as soon as you're on here. But I'm sitting in my Discord channel and I want to talk about what's going on with the riots. Basically, this all started, if you don't know somehow, this all started with the innocent killing of a black American named George Floyd. He was suffocated, and he was pretty much most likely innocent of anything because all he did was use a counterfeit $20 bill to buy lunch, and then he ate that lunch in his car right across a very short alleyway. So he wasn't trying to get away. So I believe what most people believe, which is that he did that unknowingly, and he should not have died for that, most definitely. And this screams an echo of Eric Gardner, who was killed, and he was innocent of pretty much any wrongdoing. But there's certain aspects of this conversation which the mainstream media will not talk about. They will not, such as other murders of African Americans that have happened that they say are innocent individuals, such as Ahmaud Arbery or Trayvon Martin, which once you actually dissect the court case, you realize why the people that murdered those men went free. And that's because they were innocent of wrongdoing. They were fighting for their lives. Those men were trying to take a deadly weapon from them. And when you take a deadly weapon from someone, it becomes a fight for your life. There's no way to disarm someone, take their deadly weapon, and then simply say, now you stay still. I'm going to walk away. That's not how that pretty much ever happens. And in fact, all police officers are trained to know this without a shadow of doubt. There's basically never been an instance where a cop is disarmed of their firearm and then they get off scot free and the perpetrator who disarmed them just leaves them alone. We have nobody's ever heard of something like that happening. Hey, Mr. Red Badger, I am in a safe place. I seem to be in a bunker, but I'm really just in my garage slash downstairs. Um, Let me know if you want to join my Discord. I am in here. The link to my Discord is in the comments, by the way, everybody. So if you want to talk about any aspect of this, please jump on in here, and I will either I'll include your audio or I'll just revoice what you're saying. But basically, I just want to keep talking about all of the many, many aspects of this conversation. And one thing I wanted to talk about was that most African Americans, I feel, truly are at this very basically they're out of patience. They've been dealing with this their whole lives, and they've also been brainwashed to believe that they're victims and that they're in an oppressive society that's holding them down. And now they've been forced to stay home and lose their jobs. I mean, honestly, people in the service industries, which are predominantly African American and Hispanics, I mean, a little bit more so than others, but nonetheless, they're being hit very hard with this pandemic of COVID-19, and they've been forced to stay home and be just getting basically welfare, and then the death of George Floyd, and all of the deaths of these other innocent people like Ahmaud Arbery, Eric Gardner, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Sandra Bland, Freddie Gray, you name it, all comes to fruition. And the thing is, let's say it as it is. Let's speak the truth. There has been George Soros type characters behind the scenes trying to foment a race war in this country for a long time. And we know that because of people like Jesse Smollett, who, as dumb as he is, I don't think it was his own idea entirely to try to stage a hate crime. I think someone put him up to it, in my honest to God opinion. And there's already a lot of discussion in the news, even the liberal news that would never normally admit this, that there are bad actors that might be busing people into cities like San Francisco, Oakland, and Minneapolis, and New York, and Washington, D.C., busing people in to be protesters, to basically put fuel on the fire. And this screams George Soros. This screams things just like that, because we know George Soros did things just like this in the Ukraine, Kiev, Ukraine, when the government there had been toppled. I mean, the government in Ukraine literally got overtaken, basically, by pro-globalist a pro-globalist faction from the president that was pro-Russia. Okay, so we know George Soros literally is capable of destroying currencies, as he did the British pound, as well as entire governments, as he did in Kiev, Ukraine. Okay, so this screams like globalist communist subversion. This is not just a small topic of race anymore. This is bigger than that. And I think we need to talk about all these different angles. All right. Mr. Red Badger is saying, yeah, they're using. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're red pilled. I get it, Mr. Red Badger. Yep. I'm glad you're on the same page, and that's why I want to talk about this, because I feel like a lot of people are literally just believing. And I gotta say this. I wish I had some viewers that were black, because I need you to understand. I need people to just simply know that you can't. You gotta find ways to fight these forces that are trying to subvert your movement, because the civil protests that are, saying I can't breathe, hands up, don't shoot, that kind of stuff. There are instances of innocent black men getting murdered by cops. That is really happening. Sure, it's very rare, and each case is extremely rare, because predominantly, obviously, white people are getting killed by cops, because there's more of us in the country. You make up 13% of the population, and you're guilty of something like 55% of all violent crime and murder, and that's a problem. But getting back to what I'm trying to say is, you can't let your movement be basically hijacked by globalist forces that want to use it to basically paint you as animals. Okay? I know that sounds racist, but I have to say it, because what is happening with the looting and the rioting that is getting violent, destruction of property, burning buildings, burning police departments, even fire departments, all of that, it makes you look really bad. It makes you look terrible, in fact. And you're literally making racists. You're making them faster than ever. And that's going to push and foment race war. And I've been talking about stuff like this for a long time, and it shouldn't be controversial. We need to be able to talk about this, because when you silence things, I like to say this, it's a little funny thing to say, but when you silence words, you get swords. And it's basically, you add an S to the word words, and it spells swords. And that's when things get violent. So when you don't allow me, who I've been shadow banned, no one's seeing this live stream, most likely. If you're seeing it right now, you're one of the very few that not only are subscribed to me, but also check the notification bell, because I have been shadow banned. I'm very confident of that. And that's why I don't have more viewers. And I wouldn't even have I had 3,000 viewers, subscribers at one point, and shadow banning is very real, guys. Anyways, back to what I'm trying to talk about. The looting and the rioting is not helping your cause. It's creating more racists, and it's creating people that are going to side with President Trump, who's said some things today, honestly, that I can't agree with. He said things that, I love the guy to death. I'd take a bullet for him, honestly. He's done so much good for the country. But now he's saying things that can't sound... I mean, they sound outright racist, because he doesn't understand how much power his words have. And that if he just put a little silver lining on things and set up what he's trying to say and put the nuance that the left wants him to use, that it would be fine. But when he just says that, all of these riots need to stop now, and we are going to send in all of the military forces that we have the capacity to do, and we are going to, quote, dominate the streets, That sounds scary. That sounds like he wants police state, and he wants, I mean, the other tweet he said was, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. Okay? So you just gave so much fuel to all these crazy reporters that say you're a dog whistle racist. And dog whistle racists are basically people that use code words or coded language for racists and racism. You know, now I can't defend you very well, buddy. Yeah, President Trump, because you sound this way and you never put a silver lining on this, which is that, he said it once with when he first tweeted that we feel terribly for George Floyd and what happened to him. He did that in that tweet where he set it up like that, and then he said, but when the looting starts, the shooting starts. But in the comments that came out today saying, this ends now, we need law and order, and we're going to send in the National Guard and all military forces we can to dominate the streets. That is scary even to me, because it sounds like martial law. It sounds like he might be willing to do other drastic measures like suspend the Second Amendment or something. And when that starts happening, you've lost all of your base, Mr. Trump. And he will. I was betting money, and I still am technically. I was betting money that he would win, because there's no way he can lose to Biden, especially when you've got a pandemic that has the whole country scared about the economy. I mean, the whole country is more scared about the economy right now than they are the pandemic. We're at that point in time. People are red-pilled enough to know that, hey, the solution has become worse than the virus, and, we're really effed because we have not opened up the economy again, and most people are super ready for that. Most people are ready for that, even though we know that, the Insurrection Act is being talked about, guys, and it is creepy. Very creepy. If either of you want to talk to me, by the way, feel free to join the Discord channel. By the way, I said this once a long time ago in one of my videos, but what I'm trying to do is build a community. This whole channel has basically been grinded to a halt by the shadow banning, and so what I'm trying to do now is build a community on my Discord server, and we're going to meet every Thursday night at around 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I don't know where you live, but if you're on the East Coast, then that'd be like 10 p.m. But hey, it is what it is. Nonetheless, I want to get a dialogue going on with people that are red-pilled and understand that if there is a race war, which, heaven forbid, it's gonna be terrible. And the outcome will probably be terrible too, because there's no way that one side is gonna just completely win and control the entire country. It's just not gonna happen. What you're gonna end up having is two separate countries that are gonna be messy, and the borders will be very messy, and those borders will be fought over probably for decades. I mean, let's look at Kashmir, an area between India and Pakistan. Keep in mind, India and Pakistan, racially very similar people. Racially very similar. They're not even racially diverse. They're only diverse by their religion, Islam and Buddhism. Okay, that's just a religion. We're talking about, we've got a very multicultural country here, guys. And so, okay, multi-ethnic and multi-religioned. I don't know how to properly say that. I'm not a genius, but nonetheless, we have the most diverse country on the planet. No one can hold a flame to America's diversity, okay? And we've been trying to brainwash ourselves for decades, especially in the colleges. I went to one of the most liberal colleges in the country, and they're just desperately trying to brainwash us to believe that, multiculturalism and diversity is our strength, and it's proving not to be true. And Kashmir is just one area between Pakistan and India where they're still fighting over that land today on a fairly regular basis. Okay? And Israel and what's left of Palestine. Okay? Palestine only occupies a few little areas, but there's still nonstop war there, basically. Okay, and then the Ukraine and the Crimea that was annexed by Russia. There's still combat going on, guys. So my point being is, I am trying to trying to prevent this. I don't, an honest opinion here is I don't think it can be avoided. I don't think so. Mostly, the reason why it can't be avoided is mostly because African Americans are too brainwashed in this country. And the hate is just seething under the surface. And when you see the video footage of, like, if you look at my tweets, my Twitter is Tyler Warden underscore DT. You'll see a video I just basically reposted one by Joseph Watson, who put out an awesome video called Helter Skelter, and just showing how America is burning, guys. America is burning, and we gotta figure this shit out, because as we speak right now, there are riots happening all over America. There's looting going on. There are stores and probably police departments and police vehicles on fire as we speak. Okay? And I just don't think the military can mobilize as fast as Trump wants them to, because what he said today was, I think, around noon, or maybe it was 3 p.m. or something, somewhere around that. Yeah, Logan. Yeah, Logan. It is going to break out. You're right. And the fact that the left and the mainstream media has been lying about cases like Trayvon Martin and Ahmaud Arbery. I mean, if you want really clear and open journalism, honestly, Stefan Molyneux has become a very good investigative journalist. I think he has a team of guys working for him, because I've seen some great journalism on some of these cases that I couldn't find anywhere else, like the Trayvon Martin case. I would have never found out that Trayvon Martin was trying to murder the guy who ended up killing him, and they're fighting over a deadly weapon. And when that happens, it becomes a life and death situation. So and instead the mainstream media just makes it a giant discussion about race and racism, and they act like it's always a white guy killing them. And in the Trayvon Martin case, I've already forgotten the name of the killer, but he wasn't even white. Okay, and with Ahmaud Arbery, it was a father and son duo, and why on earth would they have called the cops and have the cops on the line and have a neighbor filming the whole thing if they thought they're murdering someone in cold blood? No, they got charged. Anyways, yeah, check out the journalism by Stefan Molyneux if you want clear and good investigative journalism. And I've got some, couple of you guys here, and I just want to make it clear that what infuriates me the most is people on the right, like myself and you guys most likely, is how much and how often we forfeit the ground of certain industries. For example, journalism. We don't have enough journalistic institutions that are good anymore, honestly. Like Breitbart is good, but sometimes I don't know. And then we have things that have been basically taken over. Things that started off good and now they're not good. So and then we've got things like Alex Jones, who's been silenced in a way that is hard to even believe. I mean, you have to intentionally go to his website to listen to what they're talking about these days. There's really no other way he can get out there. Honestly, I don't think he's on the radio anymore. I don't know what channel he'd be on, but I live in, the communist state of California, so I can't. There's no way I can hear him if I want to, unless I go to his website. So there's really just not enough in that particular category of journalism, right? But honestly, we also need to talk about the fact that there's really not enough conservatives in education. We've forfeited the entire education sector for the most part. The number of professors with tenure that are conservative that I've met in my life, I can list on less than one hand, okay? It's two, okay? Let's see what you guys are saying. We got, it's not systemic, stop using Marxist BS talk. I'm not being Marxist, guys. Wait, what are you talking about? Yeah, the communists want to go now. I mean, they're taking over the situation. They're hijacking this situation to start this war because they know, and I've heard African Americans say this on the radio today, saying that this is a revolution. They are not shying away from the fact that this is a war. And there's numerous African American celebrities even that are saying, down with the Constitution and stuff. And it's insane. If you listen, if you don't like the U.S. Constitution, if you don't like it at all, I should say, then you're not an American. Get that F out. You're not an American. If you want to strengthen the Constitution, then what you need to do is look into the propertarian movement, which I am way down the rabbit hole in, and I'm probably going to start making propertarian content in the near future here. Nonetheless, all right. The other thing that I just want to talk about is basically the great fear I have that George Soros or someone like him, and a globalist, is taking over this situation, taking advantage of African Americans, and they're going to be laughing in their safe homes when the shooting really starts. Because if Trump isn't joking when he's talking about bringing the military out in large numbers into every city so that they dominate the streets, that's gonna probably lead to some serious murder in the streets, guys. I mean, that is pretty intense. Yeah, yeah. No, the brainwashing needs to stop, and that's why I keep saying I am upset by how um, conservatives and red-pilled folk in general have forfeited so many industries which we now have realized are vital. And I mean, this goes back to Germany. Everything goes back to Germany in a lot of ways. It goes back to the Fabian Socialists, which came from the universities in Jena and others. But basically, the Fabian Socialists, the wolves in sheep clothing, were all Jews, and they had to leave Germany as it radicalized and became Nazi, and they came here to America, and it didn't take them very long. It took them less than 100 years, and whoa, where are we, guys? Where are we? The Fabian Socialists are basically the backbone of what got Marxism off the ground and is fomenting this evil virus of communism. And I say evil intentionally because I believe communism is something that Satan helped invent with humans' hand. And I am Christian, by the way, and I hope you guys are. And if you want to know what I'm up to lately, by the way, it would be I'm heavily considering starting. I just don't have the time. There's not enough time in one life, but starting a church to basically just expose the very fact that communism and Satanism are the same. Freedom and liberty are what God had in mind for us. Satan had the idea of basically enslaving us, not giving us choice. The freedom of choice is something that God and Christ have enabled us to have. And that's not what the devil wants. The devil wants us to basically be slaves and not have the volition to choose what we want to do. And communism wants to take away your ability to choose what you do with your life, because they believe. Honestly, at some point, I need to just start using a language that utopians, people that believe in utopia on Earth, are either stupid or they're satanic. Because Earth is not supposed to be a utopia. There's always going to be strife in your life. Everybody you've ever met, everybody has gone through some shit. Like, I was raised poor in a wealthy area, so it sucked twice as bad because all of my friends had nice shit and I didn't. Okay, I'm not going to open up a can of worms about how my childhood kind of sucked, but if you've been through some shit, I would bet that you're probably a better person for it because you're humble, you're empathetic, you can relate to people better most likely, and you can also understand people better as well. The only downside is maybe you can't empathize with people that have had a silver spoon in their mouth since they're kids. Because honestly, people like that bug the shit out of me. Sorry, this stream's not for kids anyway, so hopefully there's no kids in here because I'm using foul language. My bad. All right, I'm gonna read what you guys are saying again. It is completely evil. Yeah, it is systematic. There's a real issue with racism in America. Of course there is. Yeah, we're on the brink of race war. If you hadn't noticed, it's pretty bad out there. And if you hadn't heard on the radio, I mean, all day today, multiple radio stations like NPR and stuff were having like call-in shows nonstop. And trust me, guys, there are good people. There are great African Americans out there that are red-pilled as well. They're rare, but there are. And there's one individual that I really liked hearing who was a ex-cop of 20 years and was now like a New Jersey. Oh, I'm sorry, Baltimore. He's like a Baltimore CEO or something. He's a smart guy. Anyways, um, nonetheless, I mean, what we need to talk about at this point is how do we keep this country from going into a full-fledged civil war? Because I don't think we actually want that. I'm pretty confident that most people don't want that. The problem is, everyone on the left is too powerful. The leftists are brainwashing people too quickly, and they've got such a stranglehold on the media and the narrative, and Google helping them, that it's becoming too late, basically. Too like conservatives are coming onto the scene too little, too late. And I've got great ideas for making a competitor to YouTube and entire platforms to do this the right way to fight back, better than Gab or Steemit or you name it, like BitChute. They're all doing it not very well. Let's just say that. But we're coming out of the scene too little, too late, and it means I think we're just red pilling just in time to mobilize for a war, but we don't have the messaging. So the revolution, the revolution will not be televised because too many people on the right are not tech savvy, and they're not savvy to journalism. Meek and pure. What are you talking about? I'm just catching up on what you guys are talking about because I see you guys are talking about stuff without even listening to me at this point. I wish you guys would honestly come into my Discord. I will talk with all of you. I would love to have a conversation in my Discord. The link to my Discord is in the video description, and I think it'd be useful. I think it'd be constructive to talk about this because there's obviously more to the conversation than just the death of an innocent man, and it was a tragic murder. George Floyd was murdered by not just one cop, but three other cops that were complicit. And I watched all that footage, and I gotta say, the only right move if you're a bystander would be to either ask someone to record it or give your phone to someone and say, hey, record what I'm going to do because I could get shot or I could get arrested, but you need to act. The right thing to do would be to confront those cops and say, no, I'm not backing off. Don't touch me. Don't touch me because you're in the wrong, and you'll have to kill me too if you're going to kill that man. That's the right thing to do in that situation. In that situation, the right thing to do is say, hey, you can't just kill that man in cold blood right in front of me. You're going to have to kill me too, or you're going to have to arrest me. And if you do either of those things, you're going to rot in prison too, most likely, because I'm completely innocent, trying to stop you from cold blood murder. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents on what the right thing to do was in that situation. Yeah, 8 minutes, dude. 8 minutes. Who can survive 8 minutes with freaking no air to your brain? Nobody is the answer. That's what happened to Eric Gardner. If you remember the story of Eric Gardner, like some man was completely innocent. I think someone just called. I don't know how the cops got called on him in the first place, but he was just innocent, loitering outside of a store or something, and the cops just ended up surrounding him and choking him out, choking him to death. Eric Gardner's case was just as cold blooded, in my opinion. It was just disgusting because there's a great number of cops that were complicit in that murder as well, and he also said the exact same words: "I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe." So yeah, it's terrible. Uh, the fact of the matter, though, is that these murders are blown way out of proportion. If we literally had just as much journalism on the murder of innocent white people and black people, if we had a proportional amount of media on both of those, then the media would never talk about anything ever other than the murder of innocent people by cops. And if that was the case, then guess what? All cops would be like probably getting murdered in the streets all the time. So that's a reason why body cams have not been adopted by everybody, but cameras for the cops have introduced a great layer of transparency that I think all police departments should have. It puts me at ease to know that those are being used fairly often. Um, yeah, if you haven't been listening, Meek and the Pure, this has been happening for a long time. And that's why it's good that we're getting this kind of transparency. Why are you talking about ifs, man? Meek and the Pure, why are you talking about ifs we didn't take this seriously? We're all taking this very seriously. I mean, the fact that we've got military forces coming to the streets of America because America is literally burning. If you haven't seen the footage, there are many, many buildings and stores and government buildings and police departments that are being burned to the ground. There are innocent people being murdered. Something I learned today and yesterday, is I confirmed that a federal building was possibly broken into, and a security guard was murdered. A black security guard was murdered. Thing is, nobody knows still who those people were. They're masked, so we don't even know their race apparently. So this is screaming George Soros, guys. This is creepy times we live in because this guy is the Joker in real life. He wants to see the world burn. He's fully satanic. Fully satanic. I don't think he even knows what his own motives are, other than getting globalism and communism worldwide, because then the entire world would be ruled by a tiny, tiny, tiny little micro minority of maybe, like 20 people. The 13 families of the Illuminati. Check that book out if you can find it. I should honestly host that book on a website. I have it in PDF form. Very good stuff. Haven't been able to read it all, honestly, but nonetheless. Yeah, America is not perfect, and it never will be. It cannot be, and no country is perfect. Not a single country or anything on this planet is perfect or ever will be, and anyone that believes in a utopia is honestly a dangerous person. They're dangerous to society. They're dangerous to pretty much everybody. Believing in a utopia is not a good way to go, guys, because utopias can't exist on Earth because that's the way God invented Earth. And pardon the Christianity here, but if I talked more about my beliefs in God and stuff, I think it would help people that are not religious understand why Christianity is the absolute best religion on the planet for all people. Like, if everybody on the planet were one religion, more people would be happy under Christianity than any other religion. For example, like Islam. If everyone was Muslim, the entire world would be dominated only by men, and women would have no rights. Women would be property. And there'd be slavery, by the way, because there's no problem with slavery within Islam. So pretty much there's racism within Islam. We've seen it numerous times. The Sunnis, the Shiites, Kurds, and other factions within Islam all hate each other. Maybe if everyone was Buddhist, we wouldn't have so many problems. I don't know. I don't know about the Buddhists. If everyone was Jewish, though, we'd have a problem with Zionists, basically being communists and trying to rule over each other. I mean, we know from the Sonderkommandos within Germany that Jews don't have a problem killing each other. So, hey, I mean, I'm indulging a little bit in a story I don't even believe in. If you're as red-pilled as I am, you start feeling a little crazy because you might know too much for the greater population around you to even believe you anymore. But, yeah, I'll stop talking about that right now. Alright, guys. I've basically said my bit. No one wanted to come into my Discord. I would love to have a conversation with you guys in Discord. There's no one in here. I'm quite serious about wanting to talk about this stuff and talk about it on a regular basis, like every Thursday night. Just talk about anything in the news or talk about organizing. I wanna get conservatives together and organize our own protests throughout the country and just help us communicate, because quite honestly, I believe that a lot of the stuff that big tech is doing in the world right now is not just a war on conservatives and silencing our messaging, but also silencing our ability to organize. It's very difficult because of Antifa to organize big events, because leaders within our group, leaders that can foment change, they're being silenced, basically. They're attacking our leaders. So maybe a little guy like myself organizing a good enough number of people online could actually make a difference. Who knows? Honestly, who knows? But nonetheless, I believe Christianity is the most conducive to human happiness and the three Abrahamics, but I suspect that they are three manifestations of the same psyop. No, no, I don't believe you, Annabelle. I'm sorry. I'm extremely religious, and I have been for most of my life, and I became atheist to some extent, more like an agnostic, for about 10 years in my 20s. But basically, Islam is one of the first creations that Satan made. The entire religion is satanic all the way through. And then Judaism was psyoped by Satan as well. That's what the Zionists are. All Zionists are basically Satanists. They want to rule the world. They want to make other people do their bidding, and they want to enslave the world too. Scream Satanism. Yeah. In my opinion, Buddhism is just wisdom. It's just wisdom. It's not really a religion at all, because it's not founded, in my opinion, by actual gods, because it's so polytheistic, so pagan, in that regard, that it's really just wise teachings that have been passed on like stories. And then there's some other older religions that are just weird. Zoroastrianism, actual pagan religions, Hinduism, also kind of a pagan religion because they believe in many gods that are very strange. If there really are aliens, though, I will say aliens created Hinduism. Anyways, I don't want to get too off topic here. I want to keep the conversation on what's going on in America and just talk about how this is a reckoning. I mean, this is a reckoning for our country right now. There's never this moment in time, guys, you're living in right now. This exact moment, there are buildings all over America burning from these riots. I'm pretty confident of that because that's been happening 3 days in a row now. And so that's probably happening again right now. But the cops are coming out in larger force to reestablish law and order, which is really important because, as I've been saying, we're at the cusp of a full-blown riot war. And if the cops and the military cannot reestablish law and order, then we're at war. Okay? We are at war if the cops or the military refuse to establish law and order. We are at war tomorrow. Tomorrow. That's where we're at. Just to make sure you understand the full gravity of the situation of where we're at right now. If we can't establish law and order, it's I won't go there because I know we're not there yet. I know we're not there yet. But we could be pretty much overnight. It just takes a trigger event that's scary enough. Like, for example, if a mob was starting to take over government buildings in any place, California or any state, or especially in D.C. I heard Trump is now operating out of a bunker, which is pretty crazy. Oh wow, censored. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I wish you guys would come in to here because your comments don't seem to be enough to understand what you guys are talking about half the time. Oh man, so what's scary is if you guys are. It sounds like you guys are a bunch of white people. We all are, and it's just funny because when you're as red-pilled as each other, you end up all being on the same page. Okay, we're all on the same page when you are the same level of red pillageness. If you refuse to accept certain information, you're probably a leftist because you refuse that certain things can be possible because you have to refuse nature. You have to refuse to believe what's really going on around you. Yeah, I don't know who's being censored. Nonetheless, communists, people that are brainwashed don't like nature because they don't like God. They hate God. And they don't like nature and what he created here. And so they don't believe facts and what reality. They don't even believe in the genders of male and female anymore. I mean, they're so far off the deep end that it's kind of pathetic. So, anyways, honestly, I Trump's not perfect. He's basically a Israeli president, you know. If Israel's taking over America, he's kind of that. But he's great. He's the best president we've had since Abraham Lincoln or maybe George Washington. He's absolutely fantastic. He's doing a lot of things, but the power of the left is just destroying him, and it's making his base confused as to whether they can believe him or not. And his words, he needs help. Honestly, he's still not speaking in a way that's acceptable, and it's coming across so racist. I said earlier, geez, it just bugs me that he can't at least learn that his words have so much power, and so if he could just be a little bit more authentic when he's saying that, MAGA is pro-African American. He said that the other day. You know, MAGA loves black people. He said it basically like that. It just didn't sound very believable. And now he's saying, bring out the military. We're going to dominate the streets. Law and order, law and order. It's just hard to believe. And it's like, I need you to win in 2020. I need you to win. We need Trump to win. Otherwise, this country's going to be destroyed. I mean, Joe Biden's a perfect Manchurian candidate. He doesn't know where he is half the time. Anything he does while in office will have been done by globalists, and we all know it. He's a perfect Manchurian candidate puppet. And this event right now with Black Lives Matter and the riots, this is the best thing they could have ever asked for getting him out of office. And the globalists know it. I mean, honestly, it's like you almost wonder if the cops were put up to this. I mean, honestly, how do you put your knee on a man's neck for 8 minutes and not know you're murdering him while on camera? How do you not know that? How do you do that with a clear conscience? It's like, it's hard to say, guys. I think our country's, it's at the cliff, guys. It's at the cliff of freaking civil war. So, if you are, get your guns, pick your side, and, know that you really want to be on the side that has the right morals and ethics here. Because whichever side wins, history may be written by the victors, but there's never no survivors in a war like this. There's going to be people that will tell it as it is. So you don't want to be, well, maybe I'm wrong, right? Because communists control everything. They control the narrative. They control history, basically, because they just look at what China did with the origins of the COVID-19 virus. They destroyed all of it, and they didn't tell anybody. And they allowed international travel while they restricted travel from Wuhan within their own country. Some serious stuff here. I didn't even make a video. I wanted to make a video about the COVID-19 virus, but there's just so much going on with it. And no matter how much time you spend looking at it yourself, it is hard to be sure of your answer and being able to draw clear conclusions with real truth behind them. And that's the name of my freaking channel, Destination Truth. So if I feel like I can't come to a truthful conclusion with overwhelming evidence of something, then I don't know if I should talk about it, And I just want to be able to say, hey, COVID-19, definitely a weaponized virus made in a lab by Wuhan. There's a ton of evidence to suggest it was, but, I can't really be sure. Okay. Catching up with you guys. Yeah. Alright, guys. I think I'm going to sign off. You guys are just bickering now, to have a good discussion here, I need one of you guys to join my Discord server. Otherwise, I'm gonna hop off because we're not having a discussion. You guys are just fighting basically at this point. And you're not even listening to me probably. What's a horrible place to live? Minneapolis? Minneapolis? I'm guessing so. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna end this stream. I didn't get anyone in here, it looks like, for the most part, because once again, I am shadow banned. No one knows my channel exists, I guess. So, the future of my channel is basically going to be more politically correct shit or hardcore shit on BitChute and in my Discord channel. But no one's joining my Discord channel, so you guys are making it hard for me, guys. Anyways, have a good night. I hope you enjoyed this discussion, talking about some of the aspects of this being, a co-opted event by communists and trying to start a revolution that will literally overthrow the entire American government. Okay? Have a good night, guys. That's what I gotta say. Have a good night. Oh, and if you want to support me, if you look in the comments of my other videos, you'll see that I've got a Patreon. I would love it if you join it because I've got a secret Discord channel just for my patrons, where we chat every Thursday night. So, yeah, join me there if you want to be a part of this. Let's organize. Let's communicate, plan, and be prepared for when shit hits a wall. All right? Have a good night, guys. And off I go.